All right, everybody, we should be live now. This is the official trailer for my 2024 hurricane season coverage here on YouTube. Let me just quickly make sure that everything is working here. Sometimes whenever I schedule streams and then select it to go live, it messes things up. But I think this time around, for once, things are actually working perfectly here. So that's a shock, and yeah, there we go. So again, we are live now. If you're just now tuning in, hello. Wow, we've got a lot of chat messages. Sorry. Yeah, I had to leave y'all hanging. I was busy. Quite a bit busier than I thought I would be. What's up, Davis? Not much. But yeah, we're finally here. Again, the estimation times on my part were very bad, so I'm sorry about that. But we are here, all right. Now, I kind of want to, just dive right into this. First off, I want to start off by talking about why this season is going to most likely end up being a historic hurricane season. So, if you guys are familiar with weather patterns, you likely know what La Nina and El Nino are. So, La Nina is whenever the Pacific Ocean waters are cooler than normal, and El Nino is the opposite. That's whenever the Pacific Ocean waters are warmer than normal, and that's whenever, these two different weather patterns can create big differences, not only in our day-to-day weather, but actually our hurricane season, all right, even out here in the Atlantic, all right. So usually whenever we have an El Nino out here in the Pacific, that leads to an above average hurricane season out here, but a below average season in the Atlantic, because what happens is an El Nino usually sends wind shear out here into the Atlantic Ocean waters here, and while most storms like wind shear, they use it to get stronger, hurricanes are the opposite. It's bad for them, but recently we have started entering a La Nina pattern, so what that means is the Pacific Ocean waters are going to be much cooler, but that's not going to send any wind shear over to the Atlantic, and it's also not going to affect the temperatures on the Atlantic. So for once, for the first time in a while, I should say, it's looking like it's pretty much a perfect setup for the Atlantic hurricane season here, all right? We're not going to have too much wind shear. We're talking about record-breaking sea surface temperatures, you guys. It's crazy. Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I'm late to the party here, too, myself, even though I'm the one actually doing the stream. But anyway, as I was saying, the Atlantic hurricane season here is expected to be incredibly above average, all right? As I said, one of the more historic ones we've had in a while. So, for example, last year, I would call an active Atlantic hurricane season. I'd call it an average one. But you know what? The biggest hurricane was actually Hurricane Idalia that made landfall as a high-end Cat 3 here in the Big Bend of Florida. But we're talking about the potential for some Cat 4, maybe even Cat 5 landfalls here in the United States this year. So, again, going to be an incredibly active hurricane season here. Now, hurricane season does not technically start until June 1st, but as of May 15th, we now are getting National Hurricane Center frequent updates here on the Atlantic Ocean waters out here, all right? So, another thing that we are going to quickly mention are the current conditions, all right? Right now in the Atlantic, it's calm, all right? We don't have too much going on. But if we switch things over to the Eastern Pacific, we see we already have a pretty concerning disturbance out here, all right? We have a 40% chance of this turning into some sort of tropical cyclone within the next 7 days, that of which being tropical depression strength or greater. Okay, so obviously that's a pretty big concern, and guys, the Pacific wasn't even expected to be, these were not expected to be the ocean waters that were, having an above average hurricane season, but they're starting off so early here in May, where we have a very real potential for a decently strong tropical storm, or again, even a hurricane. If we take a look at the GFS model here for the Eastern Pacific, we can definitely see that start to form there. Around Sunday, we've got some pretty, interesting signs there of life, all right? We can see this is going to come dangerously close to southwest Mexico here. Now, right now, the models are hinting that this stays away from far southwestern Mexico, and it stays out to sea, and that's what we're hoping for, all right? But either way, even if this doesn't make an official landfall, there is still going to be enough, out here, or the hurricane's going to be close enough, I should say, to southwest Mexico here, where we could still have some lingering effects, all right? So instead of, full force hurricane effects, maybe, some moderate rainfall, some gusty winds, instead of, destructive winds and torrential rainfall, right? So that's kind of what we have going on right now out there, right? So again, this has the potential to turn into actually a pretty strong hurricane. We're looking at a past, or the most recent GFS run. It hasn't finished scanning yet, but we can see the past run was painting this at a 960 millibar low, which you guys, I mean, that is strong, right? 958 millibar low. I mean, that's whenever we're talking about, even like major hurricane type stuff, and we're in May, guys. So even the Pacific, all right, even though it's expected to have a below average season, it could still pop off, all right? I mean, if we're getting major hurricane potential in May, then things could definitely take a turn here for the Pacific, and it could for the Atlantic as well, because as I said, right now, the Atlantic is chill, all right? There's really not too much going on out there at all, or any signs even of anything going on out there in the near future here. I mean, maybe some weak tropical systems out there. We may have this millibar, or the 1009 millibar low turn into something there Monday, Tuesday, whatever, but it's not expected to make landfall, and outside of that, we really don't see any systems at all out here in the Atlantic. So how am I going to cover hurricane season this year? All right, last year, all I did was do YouTube videos. I had a whole series called Tropic Talks, where I did updates for the hurricane season. All right, sorry, I got to catch my breath really quickly here. Give me about 10 seconds. All right, but yeah, I'm going to continue to do that, all right? We're going to have Season 2 of Tropic Talks. We're going to be talking about the 2024 Atlantic Hurricane and even the Pacific Hurricane season frequently in those. We're going to continue to do updates on the ocean waters here and my normal severe weather forecast as well, but just with more brief, less in-depth segments there. And then also now, since last hurricane season, I have started live streaming. Yay! We go live for all the big severe weather events out here in the United States, and even the smaller ones, alright? Like, even if there's, a slight risk of severe weather, that's normally enough for me to press the go live button every single time. So, but yeah, I'm a live streamer now, okay? So how am I going to cover this hurricane season live? Well, since I don't have school, alright, for the next few months, today was my last day, I'm going to go hardcore. All right, we are going to make sure that we are getting the best hurricane coverage out there possible to you guys all along the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico and the West Coast. Anytime there's a hurricane, tropical storm, or even just a tropical depression landfall in the United States, you can expect multiple hours of live coverage, all right? And I'm not talking, whenever I do a severe weather stream, we're live for an hour and that's it. If we have like a major hurricane landfall in the United States, guys, I'm going to be live for quite literally as long as possible, all right? So if you guys are excited for that, please do be sure to like and subscribe. Is this your first live stream of talking about the weather for hurricanes? My first live stream, yes. But yeah, so if anybody has any questions at all, now is the time to leave those down below in chat. I got done with that much quicker than I thought I would. We did that all in about 8 minutes. Wow. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave those down below, and I'll try to answer them here. I'm going to catch my breath real quick. Alright. It does not look like we have any questions at the moment. So, I think we might as well kind of give an update on the severe weather event. I mean, it's done. There's your update, it's done. But no, quite seriously, the severe weather event is definitely, is Florida going to get hit by any hurricanes this summer? Well, I mean, it's obviously far too early to talk about, like, specifics that in detail, all right? I can't give you, what city in Florida is going to get impacted by any major hurricanes. But what I can say is, for the past few years, Florida has had a major hurricane landfall pretty much every year, all right? 2021 We had Ida. I mean, that was kind of more of the, central Gulf there, but 2022, all right, we had Ian. 2023, we had Idalia. Pretty much every year, Florida gets a major hurricane landfall, and this year's looking more active than any of the past few years. So, if I had to guess, Florida's going to be pretty active with potentially multiple tropical cyclone landfalls. Again, it's way too early for me to talk about the specifics, but if I had to guess, that would be the case. So, again, if you're in that area, be prepared, not scared. Again, we're going to be trying to provide the best coverage out here for you guys. But yeah. Anyway, severe weather event, alright? We got some storms in Kansas, some storms in Oklahoma, some in Texas. Some of central Texas has kind of unexpectedly popped off today. Even a storm out here got severe warned. And now, if we take a look at the Killeen, Texas live cam there, the cyclone port, we can see that it's definitely very gusty out there. I bet if we stayed on here for long enough, we'd see a bit of lightning or something like that. But, I mean, there we go, actually. We just saw it. But, yeah. We do have gusts at about 18 miles per hour, but none of these storms are too intense. I really don't think we're going to get any more severe storms at all for the rest of the night. Our East Coast threat is done. We did get a tornado out of that today, but unfortunately I was not able to go live for that. But, I mean, now these storms are out to sea, and they're still looking actually very intense out there. So, that's a fish storm right there if I've ever seen one. But, yeah. Anyway, I think this is probably about time to end off the live stream. I'll go ahead and stay live for a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions, please do get them in now, or else we're probably going to end off here. I know it's kind of anticlimactic. We've had, this stream scheduled for over a month. We kept pushing back the time, all for an 11-minute stream, but I really thought that it would take me longer to kind of cover everything, but I feel like I've kind of talked about everything that I need to talk about, but in case I'm wrong, that's why I'm asking you guys to ask any questions that you may have. Hello, tornado. But yeah, feel free to ask me anything. If you're just now tuning in, we did just go through the full breakdown of how I'm going to cover this hurricane season. Good morning for you. But yeah, ask me anything about the upcoming hurricane season here, or how I'm going to cover it. I will continue to do severe weather streams. If there's a severe weather event and a hurricane landfall in the same day, it's going to be a busy day, but I'll try to cover both of them kind of at the same time. But yeah, obviously that'll be a pretty intense, day if that does end up happening. And it happens pretty often because summer is good for hurricanes, obviously, but also severe weather, right? A lot of people only think of April and May being associated with severe weather, but is the hurricane coming to Europe? No. There's no hurricane coming to Europe. There's not even a hurricane yet at all. But yeah, I think with that being said, we are going to end off the live stream here. I do want to thank you guys all for tuning into this live stream. Again, we're only live for about 12 minutes. I really thought that I had more to talk about than I really did, but yeah, I do want to thank you all for tuning in. And again, this was the coverage trailer. If y'all did just now, what place is this? Could possibly get hit by hurricanes this summer. Well, that's the thing. Again, we really don't know exactly who's going to get impacted, all right? But again, we can talk about some areas that are more, they get more than usual. Some of the spots being Florida, all right? We kind of got another hot spot expected to be here on the kind of the Carolinas area this summer. But again, it's way too early to talk about any specific locations that could get impacted by this hurricane season because we don't even have any tropical cyclones formed yet, and we're not seeing any on the GFS model for the next few weeks, obviously. So, again, we do have that disturbance out there in the Pacific, but that's not going to affect America at all, it doesn't look like. But yeah, again, I do want to thank you all for tuning in. If you're just now tuning in and you're like, why is he ending off already? Feel free to watch this back. I'm going to leave this up kind of as if it was just a normal video. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's actually a feature where I can turn this into just a video. So I might actually do that. So I do want to thank you all for tuning into this live stream once again. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.